Republican Party used to be the party of Ronald Reagan. I mean, that's a whole different party than what we're looking at today. The Republican Party, as of this week, is now the party of not just Donald Trump, but J.D. Vance. And you know what that means? The cool guys in the party are people like the tech bros, including Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, people who want less regulation, less control over AI, and some people who have given a whole lot of money to the Republican Party and also to J.D. Vance's own run. So those are the people who are now probably going to own the future agenda of a Trump-Vance administration.
The Republican Party has kind of always been bought out. And to call a spade, lately the Democrats have been just as bought out. It's why both parties suck. It's why we don't get bills passed that we need to. It's why we don't get regulations on companies that we need, because it's hard to regulate a company when they're funding you. And if you regulate them in a way that hurts their profits, even though it protects people, they'll cut your funding. They're all bought out. But for a long time, the Republicans have kind of always been bought out. And this new Trump administration is no different, but it feels different. I can tell. I'm sure you can tell. And I want to talk about why and how it feels different, because there is a reason for that. This time, it's not just companies throwing money at politicians so that they don't get regulated or laws passed that would hurt their profits. It's a little bit different this time. This time, it's very specific, very, very wealthy individuals propping up these politicians who have a very specific idea of how they want this country to change moving forward. Now, the individual I want to specifically talk about today is the person who propped up J.D. Vance himself. This man single-handedly made J.D. Vance who he is today, and that is Peter Thiel. If you don't know the name Peter Thiel, I suggest you get real familiar with it, because he's about to be making a lot of decisions for you for the next 4 years. Peter Thiel is an entrepreneur, a venture capitalist, and he was one of the first donors to PayPal in the 1990s, made him a fortune, and he's been donating to the Republican Party ever since. Because while J.D. Vance may claim that he pulled himself up by his bootstraps, and that's where it got him today, the reality is, without Peter Thiel, he would not have made it anywhere near where he is today. It was only because of Peter Thiel's boosting of his campaigns that he made it this far.
I want to talk a little bit about Peter Thiel. He made J.D. Vance what he is today. Peter Thiel is J.D. Vance's mentor, and he's J.D. Vance's funder. Peter Thiel believes that, in his own words, the principles of democracy are no longer compatible with capitalism. He believes in nationalism, and he's a hardcore libertarian, free enterprise above all else. Peter Thiel paid the cost for J.D. Vance to become a senator and facilitated his close relationship with Donald Trump that made him the vice presidential candidate.
This is different than a massive corporation wanting to get rid of any possible regulations so they can make a crappier product at our expense so that it doesn't eat into their profit. This is very specific billionaire individuals propping up candidates so that they can have a say in what the future holds for this entire country, for all of us. This man doesn't even believe in democracy. He is a capitalist through and through at the expense of democracy. He is profit over people 100%, and he has made that clear. He is even quoted in an essay he wrote in 2009 stating that women gaining voting rights rendered the notion of capitalist democracy into an oxymoron. According to USA Today, he gave $15 million to Protect Ohio Values, which is a super PAC that ran ads supporting Vance's candidacy, and that PAC spent more on ads to elect Vance than all of the money of his own campaign raised. That is how much money Peter Thiel is giving, or did give, to J.D. Vance. And it was not out of the kindness of his heart. It was not because J.D. Vance is his friend and he wants to see him succeed. That's not how it works.
J.D. Vance worked for and worked with Peter Thiel's companies. Peter Thiel made J.D. Vance a really rich man. Yes, J.D. Vance is out there re-promoting hillbilly elegy these days, but the real source of his wealth goes back to his time with Peter Thiel. The bottom line is this: Peter Thiel and his billionaire friends haven't funded J.D. Vance and made J.D. Vance the vice presidential candidate because of their love for him. They've done it because there's something they want in return.
Now, if you've watched my videos, you've seen me cover some of J.D. Vance's talking points. And one of his talking points that I went over was when he stated that people need to have a stake in the future of America in order to have more sway. And by that, he meant if you don't have children, you don't get as much of a say. You don't really get a vote. I want to give you an example of people who staunchly support J.D. Vance and Donald Trump, people who help manage secret societies founded by billionaires like Peter Thiel. And one such example is a Republican from Pennsylvania. The Guardian actually did an entire article earlier this month on Simone Collins, who ran for state representative in Pennsylvania and was managing director of this secret society that Peter Thiel helped co-found. She is a staunch supporter of Donald Trump, of J.D. Vance, and she was asked what a perfect society, a perfect governing body would look like. And I want to share with you what her idea for that was. Simone and her husband were kind enough to lay out an entire document of their society proposal, if you will. And the first thing I noticed, and there's a lot, I highly recommend you go to The Guardian. It was written earlier this month, November 4th, I think. The entire document is available for download. I can only cover so many things in this short video. But the first thing that stood out to me was the governing structure should be run by a single executor, or as they were kind enough to put in parentheses here, dictator, who has full control of the government's laws and operational structure during their tenure. So just right off the bat, dictatorship, why not? It's worked for everyone else. The second thing you'll notice is how that dictator is, for lack of a better term, elected. There are 3 wards that help elect said dictator. And the ward of the present includes how much you contribute to society. So how many taxes you pay, or if you're away on society. So if you're on welfare, or if you need government assistance for anything, you get less of a say in who the dictator is. Ward of the future here discusses how much power, voting power you have if you have children, or if you code children, because they consider AI to be citizens in this society, or if you have created any corporations. So if you don't have kids and you haven't started any businesses, sorry, you also don't really get a say in who the dictator is. And the third ward that they have laid out here is past living executors. So if we have any previous dictators, because notoriously dictators always step down every 4 years. That's how dictatorships work, right? Any previous dictators can also help decide who the next dictator should be. Basically, their society is laid out in such a way that if you don't provide children, or if you don't make a lot of money and contribute to the society by generating a lot of profit, you don't get a vote. Oh, I'm sorry. Are you on disability? Oh, you're a drain on the system. You don't get a vote. Oh, you didn't want to have kids? Oh, sorry, you're not contributing to the society. You also don't get a vote. But my favorite part about this is they consider religions to be, they changed the word from religion to tribe. And the tribe is what provides you with social systems, healthcare, transportation, any of those kinds of things. And you can switch tribes based on the benefits that they offer. I'm sorry, I have to laugh. If I don't make fun of it, it's just kind of scary and sad. But additionally, if you leave your tribe, say you became a Catholic because of their good benefits. I can't even make this up. This is literally what it says in the document. If you become a Catholic because of their good benefits, but then later you decide that you want to leave Catholicism, you have to pay them back dollar for dollar every social program of theirs that you used. So if you used any health care and they paid for the insurance, you have to pay them back. Women are baby machines. Poor people and sick people can kick rocks. And everything is about benefiting the rich. And if you don't benefit the rich, you're a drain on the system and we take away your right to vote. These are the people that Peter Thiel has things in common with, hangs out with, works with. This is his tribe. And that's the person that's going to be making a lot of your decisions for the next 4 years. It always comes back to follow the money. J.D. Vance didn't back himself financially for this campaign. You didn't vote for J.D. Vance. You voted for Peter Thiel. And those are his friends, and that's the future they believe in. And you may think it's extreme and you may think it's funny until they take away your right to vote because you're sick, or because you don't make enough money, or because you are a woman and they want to repeal the 19th Amendment. So if you don't know anything really about Peter Thiel, I suggest you go Google him. And I suggest you get familiar. Because that is the person that's going to be controlling your future.